This is Catholic Challenge Live on the Living Bread Radio Network. Teams will test their knowledge of the Catholic faith. Join us on this journey as we navigate our way from BC to AD and everything in between. Today's defenders of the faith will take up their shield and sword to compete for prize money for their organization. Are you ready for the challenge? And now here's your host, Michael Roberts.
Hello and welcome to Catholic Challenge Live here on the Living Bread Radio Network. Today we are live at our studios here in Canton, and it's great to be live here at our very own studios. We've got two teams that are competing today. They are testing their knowledge of the Catholic faith, and these teams are part of a homeschooling co-op that are here in our local area and beyond. We'll talk more about that coming up. But the good news, all of the prize money earned today will go directly to the charities that these two teams are playing for. So, before we begin our game today, though, we need to find out how to play. I want to invite up Kathleen Martin. Kathleen is going to read the rules for us.
In round one, each team will answer 5 questions. Correct answers are worth 10 points each. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. And if all 5 questions are answered correctly, you'll be given a bonus question worth 25 points.
All right, Kathleen, thank you very much. So we've got two teams today. Our first team, Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz. They are playing for Immaculate Conception Parish in Denison, Ohio. And we've got Liam Martin and Joseph Perez. They are playing for the Dominican Friars Foundation, the Novices. So teams, welcome. Nice to have you with us here. What do you say we play Catholic Challenge? Here we go. We'll begin with the gold team, Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz. Round one begins for you guys right now. Here we go. Question number 1. The act of contrition is included as part of which Catholic sacrament? Baptism, holy orders, or confession?
Confession.
You got it. Question number 2. When Jesus appeared to his disciples after the resurrection by the Sea of Tiberias, they had a breakfast of bread and what else? Wine, cheese, or fish?
Fish.
Bread and fish. Question number 3. Which of these prayers is prayed by both Catholics and Protestants? The Hail Mary, the Our Father, or the sign of the cross?
The Our Father.
The Our Father, that is it. Here's question number 4. According to St. Augustine, what does he say is the same as praying twice? Kneeling, singing, or bowing?
Singing.
It's a good thing I'm in the choir at my church. Yes, absolutely. Question number 5, true or false? The Blessed Mother's cousin, Elizabeth, prayed the words of the Magnificat, "My soul proclaims the greatness of the Lord." True or false?
False.
It is false. Mary herself is the one that prayed the words of the Magnificat. All right, ladies, that sound means you got all 5 of those right. We move on now to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. Here we go. According to the book of Proverbs, he who conceals his sins prospers not, but he who confesses and forsakes them obtains what? Mercy, wealth, or freedom?
Mercy.
That is absolutely right, and that is a round 1 sweep. So congratulations to Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz, playing for Immaculate Conception in Denison. You now have 75 points. Let's move over now to the blue team, Liam Martin and Joseph Perez. They are playing for the Dominican Friars Foundation, the Novices. Liam, you are the team captain. Here we go, guys. Round 1 starts right now. True or false? From Luke chapter 17, Jesus cured 10 lepers, but only one of them returned to thank him. True or false?
True.
That is true. We hear that gospel every year on Thanksgiving Day as well. Question number 2, forgiving those who hurt us is one of the spiritual works of what? Mercy, forgiveness, or liturgy?
Mercy.
Spiritual works of mercy. Question number 3, how old was Abraham when Isaac was born? 50, 75, or 100?
100.
Abraham was 100 years old. Question number 4, what is the central mission of the church? Bingo, teach the commandments, or build the kingdom of God?
Build the kingdom of God.
That is it. Here's question number 5. This saint was one of the first ordained deacons of the church. He was also the first Christian martyr. He was stoned to death on December 26th. Is it St. Timothy, St. Stephen, or St. Blaise?
St. Stephen.
St. Stephen, the first martyr. Absolutely right. All right, you guys got all 5 of those right. Let's move on to the bonus question. Here it is, worth 25 points. Who are excellent role models for Catholics because of their example of heroic virtue and faithfulness to God? They also intercede for us in heaven. Are they the saints, the Pharisees, or the angels?
The saints.
The saints, that's it. And that is a round 1 sweep. So, Dominican Friars, you guys now have 75 points. And just like that, we have got a tied game. It's time for our first break of the game. When we come back, we will introduce you to our contestants here. You are listening to Catholic Challenge Live right here on the Living Bread Radio Network.
St Raphael Bookstore is a proud financial sponsor of Catholic Challenge, the one-stop shop for defenders of the faith. Their resources are geared toward lifelong and new members of the faith. Online at catholicbook.net.
Prize money for Catholic Challenge is provided in part by Ziegler Tire, serving the listening area for 97 years and counting, with name brand tires and auto service that you can trust. Find out more at ZieglerTire.com.
And welcome back to Catholic Challenge Live right here on the Living Bread Radio Network. I'm your host, Michael Roberts, and we are live today at our studios in Canton as we welcome a great group of students from a local homeschool co-op that are here and trying their luck at Catholic Challenge, playing for some of their favorite charities today. Again, our competitors are Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz. They are playing for Immaculate Conception Parish in Denison. And we've got Liam Martin and Joseph Perez playing for the Dominican Friars Foundation, the Novices. So teams, once again, welcome. This is our opportunity for you to introduce yourself to our listening audience. So we'll start with the gold team. And Elizabeth, you are the team captain. Elizabeth Peterson, you attend Immaculate Conception Parish in Denison. Tell us more about yourself.
Yes, well, it's a beautiful parish. Our pastor is Father Jeff. Our associate pastor is Father Ty. And with the money from this game, he plans to put that toward restoring the altar rail at Immaculate Conception.
Wow, that's great.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about yourself. What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time?
Oh, I like to play piano. I like to read. I would really like to do more writing, but I haven't had much free time recently.
Yeah. One of the interesting things I see here is that you're interested in Baroque music. I don't see that very often.
Well, I just listen to it.
Yeah?
You know, I mean, my parents play it.
Well, that's,
a lot,
hey,
so
I
think
hear
it's
listening to
beautiful.
that kind of music helps you study. When you're studying, you should listen to that kind of music. I did that a lot in college, and I think it helped because I graduated, so it must have worked. So listening to the classic music must help when you're studying, so that's good. All right, Elizabeth, thanks so much for being, by the way, this is your second time here. You've played before, right? So it's going to be easier this time for you since you've already done it once, right?
Right, hopefully.
Okay, we'll see. Hopefully, you're right. Your partner is Teresa Ortiz. Teresa, how are you? Tell us more about yourself.
Hi. So I go to St. Sebastian's. Her partner got sick, so I'm sitting in.
Okay.
I like to play the flute, cook, bake. I don't like cleaning, but I still have to do it.
Well, that's everybody's problem, unfortunately. So here's an interesting thing about you, I see. You've got a wide range of musical interests, all the way back to the 70s, 90s, but then even a little bit of modern songs. You like cover the spectrum when it comes to music.
Yeah.
Tell us more. Why? Is there a particular reason?
Most of the songs I listen to today I don't particularly enjoy.
Well, there you go.
And then I just generally listen to the older songs because it's what my dad always plays.
Yeah.
Never listen to anything else.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that. I was growing up the same way. So another interesting fact about you, though, Teresa, is that you've lived in 10-plus houses before you turned 10. So you've done your fair share of moving in your life.
Yeah, hopefully I'll do more, though.
Well, you never know. It could happen. All right. Well, Teresa, thanks again for being here, and good luck to you as well. Let's go over to the other team here, the blue team. They're playing for the Dominican Friars Foundation, Liam Martin and Joseph Perez. Liam, you have been here before, so it's going to be much easier for you, right?
Sure.
Yeah, of course it is. All right. You attend Sacred Heart Parish in Wadsworth. Tell us more about yourself.
One interesting thing is I wrote a book, which I published last summer. It's The Scarlet Cross, available on Amazon.
Wow.
I am also a nationally rated fencer.
So this is very interesting to me because it's not every day that you talk to somebody and they say, oh yeah, I do fencing, but then you're also very big into fencing. So how did you ever get interested in fencing?
Well, growing up, I was a big fan of Middle Ages, sword fighting, all that stuff, and I had some friends who did it, and they're like, hey, come do fencing. I'm like, okay, yeah. So I started doing that at 8 years old and been doing it ever since.
So is there like a local place in Wadsworth area or Akron area where you do this?
I fence at Hooked on Fencing Club in North Royalton, Ohio.
Huh. I learned something today. I didn't know there was such a thing. So there you go. Hooked on Fencing. I like that. That's a neat name. All right, Liam, congratulations. Thanks for being here and good luck in the game. Your partner is Joseph Perez, and he is from St. Patrick's in Columbus. So you drove all the way up here to Northeast Ohio. Now, St. Patrick's is the Dominican parish down there, right?
That's right.
So is that why you guys chose the foundation to play for?
Yeah, absolutely. We love the Dominicans.
Yeah,
They're
I know.
amazing.
Well, I know they have a strong presence down there at St. Patrick's. They have for many years now. So, Joseph, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm 16. I'm a homeschooled sophomore. I like to play piano, to read, pretty much every subject in school I like. And I also do martial arts, so I beat people up.
Very good. Well, there you go. One interesting factor, you're directly related to a U.S. president. How's that?
So 6 greats, great-great-great-great-great-grandfather is Andrew Johnson, who is not as bad as everybody thinks he is.
All right. Well said. One last note. I do want to just give a shout out to the Dominican Friars Foundation. Joseph, if you would, again, what is this foundation and the money that you guys are winning today? What does that go toward?
So it's going toward forming the Dominican novices in particular. So the Dominican novices, there's a certain amount of years of formation. So the novices are first-year Dominicans, and they discern through the whole year, and then they make their vows. And not their final vows, but just their first vows. And then they go to the House of Studies in Washington. So we're donating to help the novices and assist in their formation for the salvation of souls.
Well, that's great. It's nice of you guys to play for that, and I know the Dominicans will surely appreciate that as well. And Joseph, thanks again for making the trip up here to Northeast Ohio to play Catholic Challenge. There you go. All right, let's move on now. We've got to go on now to round number 2, but before we do, we'll find out how to play. I want to invite back up Kathleen Martin. Liam's mom is reading the rules here for us today. No intimidation there, but Kathleen, if you would come up, we'll find out how to play here, round number 2.
In round 2, each team will answer 5 questions. Correct answers are worth 15 points each. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. And if all 5 questions are answered correctly, you will be given a bonus question worth 25 points.
All right, here we go. We'll start once again with the gold team, Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz playing for Immaculate Conception in Denison. Here we go, ladies. Round number 2 starts right now. Question number 1. Praying in front of a monstrance that displays the Eucharistic Jesus is called what? Lectio Divina, canon law, or Eucharistic adoration?
Eucharistic adoration.
You got it. Question number 2. Which saint from the Middle Ages is credited with introducing the Rosary? St. Teresa of Calcutta, St. Margaret, or St. Dominic?
St. Dominic.
Correct. Question number 3. Which of these can be transformed into very powerful prayer? Television, suffering, or homework?
Suffering.
Suffering and homework could go hand in hand depending on the way you look at it. But you're right, suffering is the correct answer. Question number 4. According to Psalm 23, the Lord is my what? Shepherd, Savior, or teacher?
Shepherd.
You got it. And here's question number 5. True or false? Catholics are only allowed to pray with memorized prayers. True or false?
False.
Contrary to popular belief, that is false. All right, ladies, you got all 5 of those right. Let's move on now to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. Here we go. From which of the following would Jesus have prayed as a boy? From the lectionary, from the Psalms, or from the Imitation of Christ?
From the Psalms.
Sure, he grew up Jewish. He would have read the Psalms. All right, that's a round 2 sweep. Congratulations, ladies. You now have 175 unblemished points. Let's move over now to team number 2, the Dominican Friars Foundation, the novices, Liam Martin and Joseph Perez. Here we go, guys. Round number 2 starts for you right now. Question number 1. Who was the king of Judea when Jesus was born? Pontius Pilate, David, or Herod?
Herod.
Herod was the king. Question number 2. The word Catholic is a translation of the Greek word katholikos, which means what? Universal, religious, or holy?
Universal.
We are a universal church. Question number 3. True or false? Elizabeth gave birth to her son, John the Baptist, before Mary gave birth to her son, Jesus. True or false?
True.
It is true, absolutely. Question number 4. This French saint is nicknamed the Maid of Orleans. She is typically pictured in battle armor and is considered the heroine of France for her role in the 100 Years' War. Is she Saint Bernadette, Saint Joan of Arc, or Saint Margaret?
Saint Joan of Arc.
Saint Joan of Arc. And here's question number 5. We celebrate the birthday of the Catholic Church on what day? Easter, Christmas, or Pentecost?
Pentecost.
Pentecost, the birthday of the church. All right, guys, you got all 5 of those right. Let's move on now to the bonus question worth 25 points. Here we go. Who was the author of the prayer, the Our Father? Was it Peter, Jesus, or Pope Francis?
Jesus.
Jesus Christ said it himself, Matthew chapter 6. All right, congratulations, guys. That is a round 2 sweep. So both teams are tied at 175 points. It's the making of a great game here on Catholic Challenge. Well, we're almost ready now to move into round number 3, but before we do, we always like to pause and take a moment to thank our generous sponsors. These sponsors have provided all the prize monies for our program today. We want to give special thanks to Ziegler Tire and St Raphael Books and Gifts. We're so thankful to have these great sponsors continue to partner with us to help all of you learn more about the Catholic faith and also to support these great organizations that these students are playing for here today. So thank you once again to our sponsors. All right, once again, we move into round number 3. We'll invite Kathleen Martin up. She will read us the rules for round 3.
In round 3, each team will answer 5 questions. Correct answers are worth 20 points each. There is no penalty for incorrect answers. And if all 5 questions are answered correctly, you will be given a bonus question worth 25 points.
All right, guys, here we go. We'll go into round number 3. We'll begin with Immaculate Conception Parish in Denison, Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz. Here we go, ladies. Round 3 starts right now. Question number 1 from John chapter 2. We learn about Jesus turning water into wine. Where did he do this? At the local bar, at the neighbor's house, or at the wedding in Cana?
At the wedding in Cana.
You got it. That's it. Question number 2. The world headquarters for the Roman Catholic Church is where? Buenos Aires, Argentina, Washington, D.C., or Rome, Italy?
Rome, Italy.
Rome, Italy. Question number 3. A person becomes a Catholic Christian through which sacrament? Confirmation, confession, or baptism?
Baptism.
You got it. Here's question number 4. The United States is dedicated to our Blessed Mother as our patroness under which title? Our Lady of Sorrows, Immaculate Conception, or Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Could you reread the question, please?
Yeah, absolutely. The United States is dedicated to our Blessed Mother as our patroness under which title? Our Lady of Sorrows, Immaculate Conception, or Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Immaculate Conception.
Yeah, that's a tough one, though. You're right. That's for Americas, but Our Lady of Guadalupe is the patroness for North America in general. Question number 5. The central act of worship for Catholics is what? The Holy Mass, the Rosary, or the novenas?
The Holy Mass.
You got it. All right, ladies, you got all 5 right. Let's move on once again to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. Here we go. Which of the sacraments did Jesus institute on the night before he died? Confirmation, the Eucharist, or matrimony?
The Eucharist.
The Eucharist, you got it. And that is a round 3 sweep. So congratulations, Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz. You now have 300 points. Let's move over now to the gentlemen on the other side of the room here, playing for the Dominican Friars Foundation, the novices, Liam Martin and Joseph Perez. Here we go, guys. Round 3 starts for you right now. Question number 1. This saint was born in Assisi. His feast day is on October 4th. He is the patron saint of animals and the environment. He founded several religious orders. Are we talking about St. Dominic, St. Francis, or St. Gregory?
St. Francis.
You got it. Question number 2. The Catholic devotion, typically prayed on Fridays during Lent, commemorates the Passion of our Lord. Is it the Stations of the Cross, Holy Mass, or Adoration?
The Stations of the Cross.
You got it. Question number 3. Which parable tells the story about a man who took care of someone who had been robbed, beaten, and left for dead? Is it the parable of the Good Shepherd, the Good Steward, or the Good Samaritan?
The Good Samaritan.
From Luke chapter 10. Question number 4. It's true or false? Jesus went directly to heaven after he rose from the dead. True or false?
False.
As we know, that is false. There are 40 days between the resurrection and the ascension in which Jesus showed himself to his friends. Question number 5. Faith, hope, and charity are known as what type of virtues? The cardinal virtues, the mystical virtues, or the theological virtues?
The theological virtues.
The theological virtues, that's it. All right, guys, you got all 5 of those right. Let's move on now to the bonus question. It's worth 25 points. St. Paul was originally from what city? Jerusalem, Rome, or Tarsus?
Tarsus.
He was originally from Tarsus. All right, guys, congratulations. That is a round 3 sweep. You have 300 points, tied, I might add, with the ladies as well. So definitely a great game. All right, it's time now for another quick timeout. But before we do, we always like to leave a question with you, the listening audience at home. So here's your question to play along today. Does the Catholic Church allow or even encourage grandparents to have their grandchildren baptized if the parents refuse to do so? We'll give you the answer coming up. Go nowhere. You're listening to Catholic Challenge Live right here on the Living Bread Radio Network.
The Living Bread Radio Network is on YouTube. It's yet another way to hear our quality local programs any time of day on any device. Just head to YouTube, search for the Living Bread Radio Network, and click the subscribe button.
And welcome back to Catholic Challenge Live here on the Living Bread Radio Network. Once again, we are live here at our studios in Canton, and we've got a couple of great teams. We've got a really great game going between some homeschool students from a local co-op, and it's been great to have them with us here today. And as you can imagine by the results of the score, both teams tied at 300. It has definitely been a great game. But before we left, you, our listening audience, we had a question for you so you could play along at home. The question was, does the Catholic Church allow or even encourage grandparents to have their grandchildren baptized if the parents refuse to do so? Well, the Code of Canon Law states that for an infant to be baptized lawfully, it is required that the parents, or at least one of them, or the person who lawfully holds their place, give their consent. And so under normal circumstances, no one, not even a grandparent, has the right to baptize a child contrary to the parent's will. The only exception to this law, of course, would be if the child is in danger of death. All right, once again, we've got a fantastic game here going today. Both teams are tied at 300. We are ready to move now into our final round. It's the challenge round. Before we do that, though, I want to once again invite up Kathleen Martin. She will read the rules for us here for the challenge round.
Our challenge round combines knowledge and speed. The first team to ring in may answer the question. If the answer is incorrect, no points are lost, but the other team will have the opportunity to hear the question in its entirety. Correct answers are worth 30 points each, and in case of a tie at the end of this round, we will have a tiebreaker question. The team with the most points at the end of this round will be awarded $200, and the losing team will be awarded $50.
All right, Kathleen, thank you once again. Contestants, here we go. Hands on your buzzers. The challenge round starts right now. Question number 1. The Hebrew Bible says that the first temple was built in 957 BC in Jerusalem by whom? Immaculate Conception.
Solomon.
King Solomon. Question number 2. The 12 sons of this patriarch. Immaculate Conception.
Jacob.
Each became the father of one of the 12 tribes that we read about in the Bible. Who is the father of these 12 men? Israel or Jacob? Question number 3. The book of the Bible that depicts the life, travels, and preaching of St. Paul. Dominican friars.
Acts of the Apostles.
Yeah, St. Paul in the early Christian community is in the Acts of the Apostles. Question number 4. The word Eucharist is Dominican friars.
Thanksgiving.
It's derived from the Greek word that means thanksgiving. Question number 5. In Luke chapter 15, we find the quote by a father of a young man. We had to celebrate and be glad. Immaculate Conception.
The prodigal son.
Because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. It is the parable of the prodigal son. All right, and with that, Immaculate Conception, you guys are in the lead with 390 points, but right behind you, the Dominican friars with 360 points. We move on now with our challenge round. Question number 6, the part of the Holy Mass that follows the liturgy of the Word. Immaculate Conception.
The liturgy of the Eucharist.
It is called the liturgy of the Eucharist. All right, that sound means we're running short on time. This will be our final question here for the game. Here we go. We are all born with an ability to judge between right, Immaculate Conception.
Conscience.
Yes, what is this internal ability called? Conscience. And with that, that is the game, and Immaculate Conception, you guys are the winners with 450 points. So congratulations to Elizabeth Peterson and Teresa Ortiz. It was a job well done, and you've earned $200 for Immaculate Conception Parish in Denison. Our thanks and also good wishes go to Liam Martin and Joseph Perez with a score of 360. You guys have earned $50 for the Dominican Friars Foundation, the novices. So together, you guys have earned a total of $250 today for charity. And so we want to, again, thank you guys for being here and being a part of our Catholic Challenge game. Special thanks also go out to our sponsors, Ziegler Tire and St. Raphael Books and Gifts, whose generous support provides our prize money. I'm Michael Roberts, and until next time, do your part and defend the Catholic faith. We'll see you next week for another edition of Catholic Challenge Live right here on the Living Bread Radio Network.
You've been listening to Catholic Challenge Live, a production of the Living Bread Radio Network in Canton, Ohio. If you'd like to be a part of the program, email quiz@livingbreadradio.com. For a podcast of this show where you can listen on demand, go to livingbreadradio.com and join us next time for another edition of Catholic Challenge Live.